And we are live. Scottish Open. Final thoughts, narrative, interview reactions, betting card, DFS plays. Answer any questions that pop in. Pretty short stream because I'm going to try to go over do a separate show for the ISCO as well. Just 2 short streams Wednesday night before we tee it off in a few hours. We're teeing it off in 2 a.m. Eastern time. So that's what, 4 hours from now? 5 hours from now. Sorry. So excited. Definitely very excited. The interviews. We'll talk about Rory's for a little bit because they asked Rory about his decisions, like on his missed putts. Like this is the first we've heard from him since the U.S. Open, and I thought it was very interesting what he said about his putt on 18. Obviously, the 4-foot slider that he missed, and he mentioned that he hit the putt a lot softer because he knew where Bryson was off the tee. By that, he meant that he didn't want to give himself an 8 to 10 foot putt downhill or back up the hill if he were to miss it, hitting it firm. So I understand what he was trying to say, but like at that point, it like whether you lose by 1, lose by 2, you got to make the putt. Like take the aggressive line, put it in the center of the cup, and do what you got to do. Don't try to baby it so you could have a tap in coming back. Clearly, he doesn't know what Bryson is going to do. You can't just play to think Bryson's going to make a bogey. These are all professional golfers, could easily make a par from anywhere. So he said he feels good. He said he went to New York City, cleared his mind, and just did what he had to do. The rest of the quotes were from TK, Xander Schauffele, and Bob Mack. Nothing really on like the golf course or how they're feeling. More just like general Ryder Cup questions, Open Championship questions. Nothing to like make me like or not like a player. So I'm just gonna skip those guys. I just thought Rory was interesting, but everyone, nothing concerning from any interviews like sometimes we see. So, top of the betting board, I went with Ludwig. I think Ludwig is the guy to go with at the top, unless you wanna if you want to single bullet someone or go with a really short card. I would choose Xander. I think Xander should be the favorite here. I would pick Xander in a Rory Xander matchup. So then from there, I went with Ludwig and then have obviously a room to sprinkle some bombs, and we'll get to it. So yeah, Ludwig, I just think it's a really good spot for him to get that first big win because he obviously has won before, he's mixed before, but doesn't have a big win yet. And I like that for him. I really like what he did at Pinehurst to compare to what he did here. Now at Pinehurst, he went, I think, 36, the first 36 holes. He might have missed like 2 fairways and 2 greens. Obviously, he's not going to do that here, and that's never going to hold for 72 holes. But if you could do that at Pinehurst on a 36-hole stretch, you can stop your ball on these greens and these surfaces. So I don't know if I love Ludwig on a pure links design, but on a links design that has some modernized elements, meaning the greens are raised and it's a tad longer than some other courses, I do like Ludwig in that sense. So I pulled the trigger, got a 17 on him, and then from there sprayed a little bit, went from like 40 to 60 to 80, and then a bunch of bombs. So the mid-range, I like Max Homa and I like Wyndham Clark. I gave the case for them both early on in the week, and it's still true. I thought they'd be a little more popular than they ended up being, but they weren't. This is the first time I think I've bet Wyndham Clark all year, and he's a golfer who he's going to send it off the tee. He's coming off of his best ball striking showing since March, I believe. I believe it's March after he tweaked his back in Houston, and he was all like, when he was not the co-favorite, the second favorite with Scotty. Yeah, he hasn't really hit the ball well since then, but he did in his last start. It's good to see Wyndham showing some signs. And the 2 times he's played this event, he's hit the ball really well. He didn't putt it great, but I'm not really worried about Wyndham Clark putting because he's just a great putter. So Wyndham Clark, I like him. And then Sahith Theegala. This is a golf course that will do a lot of things Sahith Theegala does. It will cater to him in terms of off the tee. He can send it anywhere and be a little wide, which he does. Like on paper, Sahith is a links golfer. He is a long driver who's a little bit wide with a really creative short game. That plays, and then throw in the American elements of the Renaissance Club. And then look at Sahith. Sahith is a very American modern golfer. So it makes sense for multiple assets. Got a great number on Sahith. Like I always say, the course history doesn't really matter with Sahith. The number matters and how popular he is matters. Like if he's chalky as hell, I don't think you want to do it. If he's one of the favorites, I don't think you want to do it. But he's 65 to 1 or 50 to 1 in a not the strongest field in the world. Not a weak field, but not the strongest field ever. Sahith can surely get into the mix. So I thought the number was really good on Sahith. Pulled the trigger there. And then Max Homa. I really like Max Homa to have a bounce back week here. I like Max Homa to. He's had 3 weeks off to figure out the driver, and he's played really, really well here. Hopefully, him getting on a golf course that's visually wider than Travelers Memorial, has some decent sight lines, can really just help him send it off the tee, and then from there, go play golf. 80-1, 70-1. Max Homa has won in bad form before. Max Homa wins at these numbers. He's a winner. He has dog. Like, if he's in the mix and you don't have him, you're gonna be like, damn, why did I not bet that 75-1 Max Homa? So I'm gonna try to avoid that. And then I'm just gonna talk about a few bombs before we get into the DFS plays. I bet guys like Andrew Novak. Like, year after year, there is one guy from Alex Smalley to Kurt Kitayama to who else was in the mix? But Cam Tringale. There's just random guys who pop here. David Lingmerth at a random. So I bet a few bombs who I think could get in the mix. So Ben Griffin, Andrew Novak, Ryo Hisatsune, all of those guys check some boxes and check different boxes. I do think you have to be an all-around golfer to really win here. Although the driver putter mold is key number one, but I think you have to check all the boxes to be an all-around golfer to win here. So Andrew Novak's one of the only golfers, not the only golfers on tour, but one of the few who is a gainer in every single category. He ranks inside the top 66 in strokes gained off the tee, approach, around the greens, and on the greens. Like, a lot of guys can't say that, and Andrew Novak can say that. So I think he could be one of the bombs who really gets into the mix. Like we see every single year, a random guy will be in the mix on Sunday. And then Ben Griffin, he will definitely be playing from further back, but he's obviously in great form. Almost shot 59 on Sunday, and he sounded so confident in his John Deere Classic interviews. He's like, I think one's coming soon, and it could be the Scottish. So if you're telling us Ben Griffin, I'll bet the triple digits. I'll do it. And yeah, like, he's used to being further back. I trust him with the approach. I trust him around the green. I trust him to make some putts. And Ryo Hisatsune, he's a golfer kind of like Ben Griffin. He will be playing him further back, but he's really good on approach, really good around the green, and streaky on the greens. I like that he doesn't have much links history at all, because like it's like that ignorance is bliss. Like maybe we don't know. Like I'll bet that something that we don't know is why I like betting young players. What if he's just a great links player? So you're giving us close to 200-1 on a very talented golfer who's won across the pond before. I will surely buy it. Some DFS looks. I'll give you a few plays in the 6K range because I have a whole show on it. Definitely go check it out. I think Seamus Power is underpriced, and he is a European golfer who should feel comfortable in these conditions. And then 6K flat, I think Connor Syme is a good target. He's my pick in the low Scott market. Bob Mack, Ewan Ferguson are probably going to be popular selections. I think Connor Syme will be the low Scott here. He's been playing decent golf, making cuts, and he's played well here in his career. So definitely down for some Connor Syme in the 6K range. And then at the top of the DFS board, I don't think anyone is a cross-off. I don't think anyone is like too owned that you could like, I'm just going to pivot onto someone. Between that Rory, Xander, Colin, Ludwig range, I think Rory's going to be the highest owned, but not to the point where it's like, don't play him. Just go with your gut up there. Just go get one of them, get two of them, however many lineups you're playing, and go with your gut. Obviously, they all have a path to success. Like I said, I like Ludwig, I like Xander in DFS. So going to go with those two. Down there in the 9K range, I think Vic is squeezed between the 10K range, and then Tommy Fleetwood and Tom Kim are going to kind of squeeze Vic's ownership a little bit. And I think people are waiting to run out Vic next week, but let's get ahead of him. Like if he shows anything good here, everyone's going to be like, we're betting Victor at the Open. He always plays good at the Open. Let's get ahead of that. I like Victor in kind of all markets this week. I couldn't get to him in the betting card because I just didn't have room for him. But I do like Vic in most markets. 8K range, Justin Thomas is probably my favorite at the top. He's finding some things, and I love how creative he is on and around the greens. Hopefully these slow greens can help him make a few putts. Some 7K targets. Obviously, I like Max, but Max is kind of garnering a little bit more ownership than I would like in DFS. I'm going to pivot down to maybe Ben On or Sepp. Those golfers are guys, obviously Benon's played here great before. Sep basically won the Open Championship last year, and he's ball striking the hell out of it. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. So stay tuned. Drop a question for the ISCO show if you have any questions. It's going to be a very bleak show because it's a bunch of names that you probably never heard of, but we're going to hit an outright. We're going to hit a winner. We've been so close of late. You want the full card, head over to Jersey Betting at Jersey Betting. First round leader cards, matchups, some positionals this week. It's all there. Go over there. Everything you need. Structured 7x ROI to the decimal, to the dollar amount to make you to help you do this weekly and honestly and regularly, because this is my career and full-time job. Is how I pay the bills. So appreciate you helping me out, and we will talk very soon. Still stay tuned for the ISCO show.